What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. All right, I've had a lot of questions sent to me talking about GameStop's halt yesterday, why it was halted after such a short move over a short period of time, and then why the downside halt looked a little bit different. Okay, so first of all, before I get into it, as soon as the stock halted to the upside, it really lost momentum. And you can see as we zoom out, it really just began to fall off. Volume had slowed down and investors were kind of turned away from this, which is understandable. When you look at the amount of volume that was pouring into, GameStop and AMC, obviously there were, traders were playing this off of sentiment. Once this manipulation happens, it gets notified, they really tend to walk away from it. And that's when market makers just slowly bleed the stock, which is exactly what happened. So I want to break down just why it happened. I'm going to talk about, some of the rules and why that the 10% move in 5 minutes doesn't really apply to GameStop. But I'm also going to talk about the adverse effect and why the manipulation is still occurring and is 100% blatant, because what happens to one side should happen to the other side. And clearly it didn't. They let the price bleed before it halted. So let's get into it. First off, I'll zoom in as much as I can for you. As you can see, okay, what we know, okay, from stock trading is anytime a stock would halt, okay, at least from what I know, is that it was a 10% move within a 5 minute time frame. Okay, 10% in either direction, the stock halts. Now, originally when they had came up with these, there was just individual stock halts, then there's circuit breaker halts for the entire market. And their goal is just to prevent that the massive stop losses run off and you're bleeding, okay, to where you wake up and you have a Black Monday. Okay, stocks just completely crash. I understand what their goal behind it, but it completely gets manipulated, as we know. And here's just more blatant proof. So this is the 1 minute chart. As you can see, we have a GameStop low of 30.96. By the time it halted at 9:35, by the time the bot picked it up, it was 9:35.40. Okay, this is a move over within that 5 minute time frame. However, it's from, let's just say, $31 to $33. It's not 10%, okay? It's actually about $1.80, $1.85, which really brings it down to about that 6%. So here's where things change a little bit, okay? And this is new to me. I'll be 100% honest with you. Completely new to me. That if a stock is trading and it's included in the S&P 500 or the Russell 1000, which obviously GameStop is in the Russell 1000. Here's a list of that. All right, it is a 5% move, okay? 5 minutes or a sudden moves of more than 5% lasting more than 15 seconds. Okay, that's new to me. All right, a lot of stocks that obviously do halt that we've traded during these small cap eras are not in the Russell 1000. So I can see that moving to the upside. Okay, so therefore it halts between that time frame, reopens at 9:40, moves up to about $35. We get that initial push. I'm sure a little bit of a gamma ramp there, and then traders immediately get shaken out of this. Okay, which is natural. All right, they know, these traders that are not, holders of, GameStop or AMC, they know how market makers manipulate, the price action that we've seen, okay? And they choose to get out of it and kind of dump their positions. Here's my problem. You have a high of, let's just say, $35. The stock didn't halt to the downside until just over 9:45 when there was a low of 32.04, all right? So you have from 35 to 32, round numbers, is about a 9% move before it halted. So to the upside, the move was halted after, let's say, just over that 5%, but to the downside, it bled even, harder and faster. You can clearly see that by looking at, looking at these candles, these two candles compared to these two. This one was a little bit bigger of a body, but still a nasty movement, all right? All the way from that 35, even down to that 33.11, which is that same spread, but it didn't halt, okay? They let it bleed even further, stop out more people. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people had stops. Traders had stops right under here, expecting there was a halt, hoping he would get a bounce to the upside to continue that movement, and it clearly didn't happen. Okay, so once again, we are still up against this. Nothing has changed. All right, the one good thing that I see about this, and I've said to everybody, is the attention is still there. All right. Now, when you look at GameStop's daily chart, there's a lot of massive moves to the upside. Obviously, they continue to sell off. Shorts aren't getting, tripped over themselves as of just yet. Continues to move to the upside, right? It is completely basing to where it hasn't broken beneath it. This chart looks a little bit better than AMC. Obviously, when you take a look at AMC and, you can see the kind of that tail off bleed that we have down here. I'll shrink this up a little bit for you. That tail off bleed, well, that comes from after, the issuance, of the ape dividend, okay? Until we kind of formulate a new base. When you add to it, those two together, get somewhere around that at that same time frame, which would be AMCX. All right, but the attention is still there. Obviously, it's the same game that we're a part of. The market makers are continuing to manipulate this. However, it gets very frustrating because it continues to happen in plain sight. When the rules aren't reciprocated to the upside, that's fine. It should have been, halted much less to the downside. It would have kept a lot more traders in that trade probably. Who knows what would have happened after unhalt to the downside, but clearly it continues to happen. So guys, I just wanted to clarify that because like I said, this was new to me. You can go and read this on Investopedia. Okay. And if this is something that, you were aware, leave a comment down below. But like I said, I wasn't aware of this 5% move if they're included in the S&P 500 or the Russell 1000. Most of the ones that, when during the small cap era, like I said, they were not involved in this, but it should happen to the upside and the downside. So guys, that's it for this video. Just want to clarify that. I'll see you in the next one.